In this video, you are going to learn how to find interest rate using the simple interest formula. Before we can go into the example, you need to know what we mean by these terms. Simple interest. Simple interest is the interest that is applied to initial or given amount. Initial amount or given amount is money either borrowed or invested, which is also known as the principal. It can be borrowed from the bank. It can be borrowed from a friend. It just really means money that is borrowed. Principal. Principal is the amount that is initially borrowed from the bank or invested. Interest rate. So this video is going to be about interest rate. So please focus on this definition. So the interest rate is the percent used to calculate the percent on the principal. Using this example on the screen, Maya's older sister got a loan to buy a used car for $3,400. What is the interest rate on the loan? So basically, all they're asking you to find is to find the percent by which you repay the loan. We are going to use the interest rate formula, as we said earlier, and the formula is I for interest equals to PRT, which means P times R times T, which is basically the principal times the rate times the time. So looking at the flyer, it said that she borrowed, as we said earlier in the problem, $3,400. She paid back an interest of $8.50 every month. The loan was borrowed for 1 year. We are going to write down our information here, what we know. P is for principal. So what is the principal in the question? It is $3,400. Based on the definition, principal is either money borrowed or money invested. Loan means money that was borrowed. So this is our principal. R is for rate or interest rate. Whether you see the word rate or interest rate, both of them mean the same thing. R is what we are finding because the question says, what is the interest rate on the loan? This means you are finding the rate. We don't know the rate. We are going to put a question mark. I'm just going to call it R. T is for time. And when using the simple interest formula, time is calculated using years, not month. Even if you're given months in the question, you need to convert that to years, because that's how you calculate simple interest, by using years, not months. So the time is 12 months, which is the same thing as 1 year. So I'm going to write 1 year, or you can say 12 months. But as we said before, we do not use months. Simply interest is calculated using year. So we know the time, we know the principal. Now we need to know I, which is the interest. Whether you see I or SI, which is simply interest, both of them are the same. On the flyer, it said that she paid $8.50 in interest every month. So to know how much she paid for the year, because there are 12 months in 1 year, we need to multiply $8.50 times $8.50, which is equals to $102. So the interest she paid on the money that she borrowed was $102. So we are going to substitute our values that we have here into our formula. I am just going to write back the formula for you to see clearly that we are replacing the variables or the letters with the actual values here. I is $102. Anywhere you see the word, the letter I, you replace it or substitute 102 because we know the value for I, so we don't need to have that I there. That's all it is saying. P, do we know the value for P? Yes, the value for P is 3,400. Remember that P represents the principal. And remember, P times R, PRT means P times R times T. So we are going to put our multiplication symbol to represent multiplication. Here to show us that we are multiplying. Now, R is the rate. We don't know what is the rate here, so we are going to write it back. So we're going to write back the letter R because we don't know that. That's what we are finding. And then we are going to write our year, our time, which is 1, because the year is 1. Now we are going to multiply everything we have there on the right. So 3,400 times R is 3,400 R times 1 will give you back the same 3,400 R. Not every time the year will be 1. It depends on what you are given in the question. So I am going to write back my interest here, and I'm going to simplify the right-hand side here, which is going to be 3,400 R. Now I have an equation. I'm going to solve it by dividing through by the number in front of R. So this is being divided by 3,400 because when solving an equation, the goal is to get the R by itself. If I divide the right, I divide the left by that same number. So this in the numerator cancels the same number in the denominator. It's like you're saying 3,400 into itself goes 1. 3,400 into 3,400 goes 1 times. 1 times R is either 1R, or you could say R. And 102 divided by 3,400 is equals to 0.03. So R is equals to 0.03. But we are not finished yet because remember that R represents interest rate, which is percent. And to convert to percent, we multiply 0.03 by 100. When we multiply that, we are going to get 3. And it must be written as percent. So it's going to be 3%. So the rate by which you repay the loan is 3%. And that is how you find or calculate interest rate or rate using the simple interest formula.